Welcome. I'm Tburrier. For those of you who are new to me, I'm going to spend the next probably about 20 to 25 minutes informationally giving you, I called this Health 101, but really I'm going to give you 7 keys for proactively creating an incredibly healthy life. And I am recording this, so I'm not going to take any questions until the end. At the end, I'll take any questions. I'll take questions about the current situation. I'll take questions about your situation. I'll take whatever questions you want to throw at me, and be happy to serve you in that regard. But right now, it's a unique time, obviously, and health has always been the most important priority, whether people recognize it or not. But right now, it's obviously getting much clearer. And one of the positive outcomes that will come from this situation right now is that we will as a culture, and I'm talking globally developed nations as a culture, get to the understanding about being proactive from a health perspective, because the people who are most in danger right now are the people who already were in health crisis. And that is, unfortunately, a relatively high percentage of the population. I mean, they term it immune compromised, right? So you can think of the term immune compromised as not being healthy. Let's just keep it. Let's make it simple. And I'm a simple guy. And the fundamentals that I'm going to share with you today help you to stay healthy proactively, which keeps your immunity high. Yeah, there's other things you can do to like ramp up your immunity, but I'm talking about as a general rule. All right. So we already were in a health crisis already. This just made it visible, right? If you think about the number of people that die of heart disease a year, just in the United States, it's over 600,000 people, and cancer is about to hit that number. So if you broke that down into daily numbers, you would see that's a lot of people a day. But you know what? That doesn't seem to be enough, because it's easy to think that couldn't happen for me, right? And so still a relatively small percentage of the population is very diligent proactively. But a situation like this blows that up, right? Because now people who are at all immune compromised go, oh my gosh, right? This could happen to me right now, right? So that isn't until it could happen to somebody I love right now. And so it's a game changer. So it's a game changer. So I'm going to give you fundamentals, and you have time now. You have the time to implement. And there's a mindset of a habit. 21 days tends to help breed a habit. You have the opportunity right now to breed incredible habits that will lead to an awesome future, and really a very blessed life if you embrace them. And they're not difficult. I'm not giving you anything that's like rocket science. And that's something I want to just say on the side here, is be careful that there's so many charlatans out there who are trying to get you to buy stuff that's going to change your life overnight. That is not real. Never has been, never will be, right? I mean, if you think about all the magic diet potions that have been out there forever, that, take this pill or drink this drink and you'll lose all your weight overnight. Well, if those things actually worked, right, we wouldn't have 75% of the population in the US overweight. We wouldn't have 40% of the people obese. We wouldn't have that, right? Which obviously puts them into an immune compromised situation, right? That stuff doesn't work. Fundamentals are what work. And I'm going to give you fundamentals that I've been doing for about 31 years now that I have been doing it myself. And I can tell you that at almost 59 years old, I'm substantially healthier than I was when I first started doing all this. And that's part of what led me to, get a certification in training and to learn all that I learned over the years, and to be in the industries that I'm in, where I'm about helping people. And this is, what I do in totem. Helping people with their health is one of the primary things, because of the flow of what I'll share with you here in a moment. So I'm going to take you through these 7 keys, but first understand the nature of why we're already in a health crisis, because it'll help you understand why you should do what you're doing, because you're going to be proactive. So if you think about this, right, disease has been accelerating, right, in all areas, right? So disease has been going up in all areas. We're talking about cancer, heart disease, autoimmune, diabetes, all that stuff. It's been increasing dramatically, right? And so you think about what that means. Why is that happening? So part of that is we've had this unbelievable increase in toxicity in our environment. We're not designed to consume environmental chemicals, the chemicals that are made in manufacturing, the chemicals that are in our food supply, right? There's There's 3,000 different chemicals that are in our food supply. There's 100,000 different chemicals in the environment. All those things bombard our body and influence our ability to properly absorb what we need, or even inhibit getting what we need, right? So that's a dangerous thing, and it also affects our body to use what we get. And so same thing with pharmaceutical meds, by the way. Most pharmaceutical meds have some sort of negative impact on the way your body uses nutrients. So at the same time that you have this going on, you have a decrease in nutrients in the general diet, right? And so that happens from two things. Primarily processed foods, which might taste good. Doritos taste good, but they're trash, right? They're trash. They're not healthy for you, right? They're full of chemicals to get you to design to eat more. You want to eat more because they taste so good, right? It's chemicals. And so processed foods are devoid of nutrients. We don't have a problem with calories in this world. We got a problem with nutrients. Your body runs on nutrients. The other side of that equation is the natural foods, right? The fruits and vegetables have less nutrients in them than they used to, because we have over-farmed our soil, so we've depleted the soil, plus they've polluted the soil, with things like glyphosate, but easy for you to say, that decrease the nutrient content in the soil. That's the microbiome of the soil, which produces less nutrients into the fruits and vegetables, not to mention they're over-farmed. And then they're picked when they're before they're ripe, because they have to withstand shipping. They have to withstand shelf life. And so they're picked way before they're ripe, so they don't even get to their natural highest potency. And then as soon as they're picked, they begin to become less potent. So the moral of that story is less nutrients getting into people's bodies. So you have increased disease is happening, increased toxicity is happening, decreased nutrients in the food supply is happening, right? So all you can relate to that. So what does this lead to? This leads to an increased reliance on the medical system. In other words, it leads to reaction. When people are sick, not doing well, they go to a doctor, right? They get drugs, they get operated on, they get whatever, right? And pharmaceutical companies love that. But for you, what does that mean? It increases your costs, right? I mean, dramatically increases your costs. The average American spends $100 a month on medication, $100 a month. And a lot of people don't use them. So imagine how much people who use them, right? And obviously you've seen some of the stories in the past of some of the egregious things some of the pharmaceutical companies have done by just jacking up the prices to take advantage of people. It's just disgusting. And this isn't about that. I'm glad we have pharmaceutical companies, because there's a real need for certain things. And right now they might be able to do some real good, but they do good anyway. But they also, bottom line is, drugs should be the last resort, right? In a healthy life, they're a last resort, not first resort. And so this actually increases your costs, and at the same time, it decreases your quality of life. Sorry, I ran out of page. It decreases your quality of life, because if you're not well, you don't have much of a quality of life. So that was already happening, okay? That's already happening before we got into our current situation. Obviously now that's becoming, it's becoming a thing. It's becoming an understanding. So I'm gonna give you these 7 things, and then at the end I'll take questions, okay? So number 1, very, very huge, is your mindset. Arguably the most important thing, right? Arguably the most important thing is your mindset. So what is your mindset? Mindset, if you look up mindset, every definition, and there's a zillion of them out there, will tell you it's an attitude. It's really not an attitude. It's much deeper than an attitude. An attitude can change, right? I can have a positive attitude in 1 minute, and somebody can say something bad to me, and I have a negative attitude the next minute, right? The attitudes are contagious. This is not attitude. It's much bigger than attitude. Mindsets are based on values and convictions and beliefs, right? And so the mindset has to be that health is first. It always has been that way. But we've gotten, as a society, I think we miss this frequently. Matter of fact, it is part of my book, The 3 Circles Living, which is the platform I've been teaching and living for years. That is this platform. Our mindset has to be health first. Why? Because in order to show up for the people that we love, which is the other area of major crisis right now, people worried about themselves, but they're also worried about the people they love. Why? Because those are 2 most important things: your health and the people you love. There's nothing more important than that, right? And so you got to show up. These people, this requires time and attention, and that requires you being your best self, you being your healthiest self, right? And then that trickles over into what you do for a living. The people that get this right crush it. They crush it, right? Now, I'm not going through the 3 circles today. I suggest you get the book. Especially now, it will help you reprioritize, because we're going through a major reprioritization right now. Let's face it, that's what's happening. The world's changing in that regard. And so health first has got to be the mindset, right? You can't be, well, if I get around to it. No, you don't get around to stuff that matters. You don't get around to the people that you love. You don't get around to taking care of yourself. You do that first. If you're going to get around to something, get around to playing golf. If you're going to get around to something, get around to playing a video game. Get around to watching TV. Get around to doing something like that. But don't get around to stuff that matters. Prioritize it and do it. It's worth it. It gives you back so much more life. This gives you back time because you feel better and you're more productive. This gives you joy. So now you not only are you more productive, but you feel better, and it just changes your life, right? So number 1 is mindset. You have to get the mindset that it's the most important thing. Number 2 is you then have to feed your mind. You got to feed your mind. You got to put positive in it. Right now, here, let me give you this really simple, right? Watch this. This is a current thing, but for me, it's a lifetime thing. I've been doing this forever. Why? Because I understand these people get paid to make you get glued to, right? They polarize you. What polarizes people? Negative. What polarizes people? Fear. They're having a heyday right now, aren't they? Oh my gosh. Some of their headlines, they should be put in jail for the stuff that they're doing. They're not helping anything. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to go down there. Bottom line is avoid them. Just avoid them, right? I mean, you should pay attention to truth in world events, what's going on. You should know what's going on in your community, right? That stuff's important. But don't buy into the sensationalism. All that will do is feed the negativity and cause you stress. And the reason I'm talking about feeding your mind positively is to eliminate stress as much as you possibly can. Some stress is good. We're supposed to have stress, right? Like if I walk down the beach, because I live in a national forest, and if I walk down the beach and a wolf steps out, which is a possibility, I need to be able to get away, right? That's stress. That's positive stress. Stress can be a positive thing, but the continuing stress and anxiety, which I was blessed with as part of my wiring, and so I navigate this as in part about how I'm very sensitive to negativity. So I don't choose to participate. It doesn't mean I'm irrational. It means that I recognize there's always bad stuff and there's always good stuff. I choose what to focus on, but you have to cultivate that. I mean, I just did a personal development webinar this past week that was incredibly attended, called U101. I'm going to do another one soon. So those of you who see this in recording may never know about that. But bottom line is I focus on personal development and feeding positive things in my brain because it reduces anxiety, right? And it's something that you can control. You can control the things that you do that help you. And that reduces stress. And reducing stress reduces a lot of the body's reaction to stress, which is really deleterious to your health. All right, so consistent stress has already been proven to be a major health issues cause. And so, feed your mind. Number 3, rest or sleep, whatever you like to call it, right? In the book, I'm going to show you this book a few times because this book, it's a great time to read this book. Great time to read this book because most of it you're going to go, I wish I had been doing this before, but now you have a chance. Now you have a chance to implement it. You have time to implement it. Rest. So I talk about it in the book. How much do you need? You're unique, right? I don't probably need as much as you, or maybe I need more than you, depending on who you are. I really need about 7 hours. That's what I really need. But there are times when I need 8, and I've had times when I need 9, and I have times when I can go for weeks on 5 or 6, right? So you got to listen to your body, but as a general rule, get the right sleeping conditions, do the right things before you go to bed, like don't have this, right? Don't have this next to you in bed. Don't have your computer on in bed, right? Be smart. Be smart. Your body has to rest because that's when your body repairs itself. That's when it builds back your tissues. That's when it works on your immune system. That's when it does all your growth. It does all this great stuff when you're resting. And if you're not getting enough, well, let's face it, you'll die, right? If someone stays awake too long, they die. Pretty easy. So make sure you get rest. 4, hydrate, right? Hydration. So hydration is not coffee, tea, beer, cola, soda, whatever you want to call it, juice. Those are not hydration. Is there some water in those things? Yes. But most of those things, outside tea, depending on what kind of tea it is. But most of those things have more of a dehydrating effect than a hydrating effect. So that mitigates the water that's actually in it. And again, in the book, 3 Circles Living, I talk a lot about water, and I give you a lot of the facts, but here's some simple stuff to know. First of all, the majority of your body is made up of water. I know it doesn't feel that way. You're like, wait a minute, I'm not water. Yeah, you got a lot of water in there. Water is something you cannot store. You do not store water. And so that's why if you get dropped in the desert, in 4 or 5 days, you're gone. Even if you had a pocket full of hamburgers, you still probably wouldn't make it, because body doesn't need hamburgers very often, but it's got to have water all the time, because all the functions in the body take place. You can't cool yourself without water, right? It moderates body temperature. It detoxifies you, which, given the state of our food supply, some people should be pounding water because so many toxins you need to continuously flush. There's more than one way to do that, but water is a primary source. And basically the difference between the amount of water you need and what you get over time results in toxin buildup in your body. And so you will notice this if you start drinking adequate amounts of water, and there's all kinds of schools of thought for that. And I've heard half your body weight in ounces, depends on what scale you're using, right? Whether you're using pounds or kilograms, it'd be different if it's kilograms. But for me, it's 3 liters of water a day as a floor. I know that covers everybody, and it's not going to be too much for anybody. And you'll know, right? Because one thing is, when you start drinking enough water, in a short period of time, you will quickly be able to recognize when you're not drinking enough, because it'll affect you. Like, if I'm not getting hydrated enough, which is rare for me, I drink in upwards of 1.5 gallons a day, and have for a long time. Sometimes a gallon, but in that range, 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons. If I don't drink a lot of water, I feel it. Like, I feel like it, almost like you feel like when you have a blood sugar crash, that like a little bit of wacky energy, because my body's so used to being hydrated. And it's such a powerful thing for your immune system, for your health, for your metabolism. Your body needs it to absorb nutrients properly, to transfer nutrients in and out of cells, to detox, for your organ. I mean, it's used in so many things. And I talk about all of them in the book, or at least a lot of them in the book. So make sure you're hydrating. All right. So that's 4 things. Let's jump to number 5. Number 5, exercise. Another one of those things that most people say, I don't have time. Well, guess what? Right now is a great time to build that habit. The world is a gym. Think about that. Right now I can't go to my gym. I don't care. I mean, I miss seeing some of the people, but heck, I can go for a walk. I can do body weight exercises and go where you can do anything. Go to a playground. You can work out with anything. You can lift things in your house. So there's so many ways to exercise. What is actually, it's moving your body with some resistance or some endurance. Just think about it that way. So it's either repetitive movement for a while, or it's something that causes you to really have to exert yourself. It's so easy when you think about it, instead of getting complicated in all these different ways to do it. Now, granted, there's all kinds of stuff to do, but if you're not doing it, you got to do something. You're designed to move your body, right? I mean, it's another contributor to what's going on out there from a health crisis perspective. When the fact is, we should be doing stuff all the time. We're supposed to. So 5 to 6 days a week. To me, I do something active every day. There's never a day I'm not active. But I'm purposeful in my exercise 6 days a week. And I have been forever. And again, the results, they show, right? The way you can live shows. It's incredible for your immune system. It's incredible for your brain, not to mention for your longevity. It's not even close. People that do the things I'm telling you For the most part, I mean, meaning, you know, that's something freaky happened. I mean, life can happen, right? Some people can do everything right. 10% of the people who get lung cancer don't smoke, right? Now, granted, they're breathing air that's polluted, but, you know, they're not smoking. And they're not purposely doing it to themselves. So, you know, and there's all kinds of stuff. Some people get rare diseases and things that happen that had nothing to do with that. Right? I had a very good friend who recently died of a very rare thing that he contracted. He was the first person I ever heard about. You know, I don't think he brought that on himself. But the majority of our health stuff, we bring in ourselves. It's upward of 80% is all lifestyle oriented. So you've got to exercise. You have the time. And so start with what you can do. Maybe it's 20 minutes a day. That's all. Or you know, then start implementing all kinds of other things, like, you know, walk around your house, do stuff that's active as much as possible. But also on my website, Tburrier.com, if you go to Tburrier.com/workout regimen, you'll see mine, if that matters to you. And there's also a link in there where you could go to get some deeper regimens from my friend Kevin Miles, who's a tremendous trainer, tremendous. So that's a resource for you. And it's in the book. That 3 Circles Living book will also give you that resource. So exercise. And then number 6 is food. Now, 6 and 7 are nutrition, all right? Because nutrition matters. And the reason it takes up 2 of the 7 is because it's the most important one. I mean, you could say water is the most important thing. Sure, yeah. But you're not going to let yourself die of thirst, right? That's probably not going to happen. But you might kill yourself with your fork, right? That's just reality. And so food is one part of nutrition. Your body runs on vitamins and minerals. If you don't get them in adequate supply, you die. That's why there's an RDA or an RDV or whatever it is in the rest of the world. There's some measure of value that says you got to get this much vitamin C. You got to get this much vitamin A. You got to get this much calcium. Why? Because if you go below those thresholds for any extended period of time, you will get substantially sick or potentially die. But because you cannot live without nutrients, right? Just the bottom line. Everything that happens in your body, from the development of your hormones and enzymes to each interaction in your metabolism, to everything, requires a vitamin and a mineral. And they're not just used in one thing. I'm not going through all the detail about those things right now. We have access to a phenomenal webinar that's been recorded that can give you all that detail if you want it. But here's what you need to think about food. Stay away from stuff in a box. I mean, they talk about make it simple. Stay away from stuff in a box. I know right now people are running out and buying stuff in boxes and buying stuff in cans. Okay, I get it. Although we're not going to run out of food. Food's abundant. It's everywhere in the developed nations. The key is eating the right way, because processed foods, the reason I say that, processed foods are full of chemicals, right? And chemicals are designed by companies to make you want that food. And it's masterful what they do. But they have no idea what those chemicals do in your body and how they build up and what they do in the long run. And it's not good. Not to mention they're nutritional devoid. So there's just not many nutrients in them. I don't care what it says on the box. That's what they put in it before they did all the crap to it. That's not what you're getting from it. It's not available for you for the most part. So you want to eat fresh fruits and vegetables as much as possible. You want to eat free range poultry and grass-fed beef and chicken, and pork and seafood. And I'm telling you exactly the kinds of foods. What I'm saying is wild-caught fish. You want to eat real food. That's what you want to eat. And so the entire way that I eat, again, is on Tburrier.com, Tburrier.com/eating plan. And I'll tell you how I eat. There are many good styles of eating out there, by the way. I talk about a few of them in the 3 Circles Living book, but you need to find a way to eat that is quality food, right? And tons of schools of thought. I don't go too far, right? You can go so far as to eat for your blood type. Maybe, right? I mean, if it says who, be reasonable, right? I mean, there's so much stuff. Common sense has been lost, right? I'm not saying there's not value. I'm just saying common sense. Use common sense. If it's fake food, not good. If it's real food, good. See, that's pretty commonsensible, right? It's easy when you think about it that way, right? So you got to avoid the chemicals. That's the key as much as possible. You can't avoid them completely because they're in everything or even in the fresh foods. But fresh foods are much better. So Tburrier.com/eating plan. You can find how I eat. And if you want to dig even deeper and get a list of foods, my friend Jenny, the health coach, has provided that. And so there's a link there where you can go get that. Really be helpful. All right, so that's number 6. And then number 7 is supplements. And we should not even use this word anymore. We should change this word to complements, right? These are complements, and they are the absolute perfect complement to today's modern diet because most of the food is devoid of nutrition, whether or not you are eating fresh food or not. So you just simply cannot get what you need, right? Most people are deficient or extremely insufficient, but really from an optimal health perspective are deficient in vitamin D, major antioxidants, most major minerals, practically all the other vitamins, fiber, probiotics, omega-3s, the list goes on, the stuff that your body needs. And the bottom line is the people that make sure they are getting these things, they look different, they act different, their life is different. They are not sick very often. They mostly don't use meds, and they have tons of energy, and they look younger than they are, and their whole outlook on life is better. Why? Because they feel good. I mean, it's not rocket science. They feel good. They tend to do these other things too, right? I mean, there are plenty of people that think taking a vitamin it allows them to be able to do all the other stuff wrong. That's not a good formula, right? That's just do the right things. And I'll give you a percentage here in a moment from my thinking. But, you know, it's important, though, that you use quality supplements. Quality means just being real. You're not going to typically find them in a store. You're not, because most of those are made in high heat manufacturers and made in massive quantities, and there's not a whole lot of attention to what's going in there. And yeah, you might say, well, there's plenty of stuff on the label. That doesn't matter. It's about what your body can use. And things that are high heat are compromised, right? The minute you cook broccoli, you have destroyed a lot of the vitamins. You have denatured the enzymes. And depending on what you do, you might have leached out some of the minerals. So you made it way less of a food than it is. Well, it's the same thing with a supplement, right? Absolute same thing. It's going to be the power of a supplement is going to be the result of the materials used and how they were put together, right? That means putting them together in the right way. It means cold processing. You want to use something that is cold processed because that means the nutrients were not killed. So whatever's in it is what's available for you to absorb and use. That's a really simple equation. And you're just not going to find that in stores. Those are higher grade products typically, or maybe pharmaceutical grade products. And you also want to find companies that use as pure ingredients as possible, that try to really minimize the amount of chemicals that are in the actual ingredients, right? To actually test for that, for impurities in the ingredients. Not to mention, of course, you want to minimize, and if you can, don't use at all, products that use chemical preservatives and chemical fillers, right? So I tell you what to avoid because it's easier to look for that, right? And so look for cold process. That's an easy one. Look for cold process first, right? Because then you know it's a company that really pays attention to detail. If they're willing to do that, they care about the quality of the product. But supplements are the ideal complement. You have to do it, and so you want to supplement everything I just said, right? Your vitamin D, definitely. I mean, that's critical for your immune system anyway, and even more critical now. And then vitamins, minerals, fiber, probiotics, and antioxidants at a minimum. And then maybe if you've got some targeted needs, then you target it with something over and above that, but you got to get the foundation. That's how your body runs. So those 7 things will make a huge difference for you. So let me give you a quick now, and then I will stop the recording and take any questions relative to now or future, depending on your situation, and see if I can help, okay? So right now, number 1, prioritize. Get real, prioritize. You've been given the gift of time right now. We're in a situation where we're gonna have a massive reprioritization. Take advantage of this, right? Your next 20 years are going to be totally different than they would have been had you not been in this situation, because you're getting a chance to go, what really is important? How really do I want to shape life? How much of what I thought was secure really isn't, right? And how am I going to manage going forward, right? You got that. Here's your opportunity. And your health is the most important thing you can prioritize. And you now have a chance to build healthy habits. 21 days, piece of cake. Number 2, the 90% rule. This is my rule, 90% rule. All this great stuff I just gave you, do it 90% of the time. The other 10%, I mean, within reason, do what you want, right? I mean, let's face it, if you like ice cream, you're never going to stop eating ice cream. Just didn't eat it every day, right? If you like pizza, to say don't eat pizza, you're going to eat pizza, right? So 90% rule. You know, hey, I'm going to have a couple beers this afternoon. Why? I like beers, right? Do I drink them every day? No, right? But I'm going to have a couple this afternoon. So you have to do the thing that you do as a way of life. And then have a little fun on the side, because, I mean, you know, you do got to live, right? So 90% rule. So that, and then if you want deeper information, please reach out to whoever invited you on this, because they likely have access to some great stuff if they invited you to watch this. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I hope that this was of value to you. If you have a question for me that you want to send me offline, tburrier@gmail.com. You can also visit my website, tburrier.com. And then, of course, I can't encourage you enough to get this book, Three Circles Living, Achieving Your Richest Life Possible. It's orderable at Amazon. And so I'm going to pause the recording, and I'll take any questions you have right now, okay?